Hello again, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program and this career mode playthrough. Yeah, let's get into it after the recent escapades with aircraft. My own fault, really. I should know better. I've tried. I remembered I've tried in the past numerous times to make aircraft work, and yeah, they work. Not particularly easy to make money doing, however. So, that's land on the Mun. Not really ready to do that yet. Side data from the surface of the Mun ties in with the other one quite nicely. And some tourists. This is what I'm thinking of having a go at today, or at least to start with. Can nearly do the tracking station, can't quite do it yet, so I have to do one flight at least that's going to be a little bit of a risk. So the Lawn Dart 5T, which we went into here, this thing is the maximum number of parts we can give it. So yeah, 2286, that is not going to be enough. So what I'm going to do is see what I can do again by trying a few tricks with solids. So 2286 was where we were. Let's have a little look at this. So that's a little bit more. Put the aero caps on. 2286. Yeah, I mean I need the struts still because this is going to require a little bit more work. How many parts have I got left? So this is going to give me a couple more bits. So what I need to do actually is put that on there and then just remove it. Yeah, what I need to do is add in the extra fuel tank. So 2286 is where we were. So we're still up a bit. So now I want structural, I want that. And I'm going to go from there to there to hold the thing a little bit better. And we have one part spare at the end of that. Well, that's actually quite useful because what I'm going to do is spend that one part on an extra parachute. So now, just simply moving the engines around has changed the performance quite considerably. However, I do need that centre stage engine firing up early on. Basically, I need that to give me the control, because a pair of solids on their own won't do it. I suspect solids on their own are also going to be a little bit too harsh. So here, the total delta V is less than the 2286 we had before. However, we should get more on the upper stage when we get up. So Lawn Dart 5T SB, not the bank, incidentally. Let's have a little look. So we can put in some tourists who want to go and orbit the moon or the Mun. See how far we get. I mean, we should get some money for the Kerb in orbit and the Kerb in suborbital side anyway, which might help. Indeed, actually, thinking about this logically, the thing to do with all of these is take them all around Kerbin first, get the money from that, and use that to make getting to the Mun a bit easier. Yeah, that's the easy way. I'm not doing it the easy way. Sorry, I don't want full throttle. I want probably about 2/3. Okay, I do want a bit more thrust. Big thing with the solid boosters, they give you a nice constant thrust. It's quite a nice kick. They burn out fairly quickly. They do give you quite a nice kick. The acceleration you get from them is constant in terms of thrust. So as their weight drops, you get quite a lot more punch out of them. in terms of what it'll give you, and hence the acceleration here is going up. So I'm going to lower the centre stage engine thrust again. Really just to control it. I want to make sure that, well, firstly that the solids burn out first, which is quite important. We can go. The struts, you'll note, mean we are no longer wobbling, so we are going through this rather nicely. So, full throttle stage to get rid of those. And we're already on quite a nice... I mean, if anything, I'm on far too high an orbit here. However, this is where this engine here comes in. We're going to go up. I may even get the apoapsis a little bit to where I want it to be, and then cut throttle a little more. Maybe, we'll see. What I want is sideways. Now, as you notice, the orbital velocity is dropping slightly. Well, yeah, it'll start to increase again, so I'm not too fussed. And we shall see. Yeah, see how this mission goes. Anyway, I'm going to be quiet for a little bit so I can speed this up, and I will catch you when we are in orbit. Yes, just a quick note again here. I find myself thinking I'm not even going to make orbit with this thing. Because we are very nearly at the peak of the lift, so this needed to go upwards a lot more in its early stage rather than coming over quite so far. Yeah, this may make Kerbal in orbit if I'm lucky, but it's not going to make Mun orbit. In fact, I very much doubt I'm even going to be able to get a Mun flyby out of this. Yeah. A little bit too heavy, I feel. This is going to need additional boosters and so on and so forth, which is a bit of a problem with the part count limit, so I need to have a little think. I'm going to see what I can get out of this. Frankly, if I can get tourists into Kerbal in orbit as an early stage, and then we'll come back and do the Mun orbit thing afterwards, I'll cope. Yeah. At the moment, apoapsis is doing nothing, really. And if I go this way... we've not even left the atmosphere yet, so we're not even suborbital. Well, perhaps this is now climbing again, although we are very firmly on the downside here. So I need to be burning much, much, much higher. The problem with this is not really getting me into orbit particularly well, although what it should do is perhaps... Yeah, see, we're climbing again now. So, carry on this way. Yeah, I think we probably will make orbit, but we're not going to... we're certainly not going near the Mun. Okay, so... Yeah, I'll get into orbit and then I will be back. Okay, here we are in orbit. So I've got 2 tourists with a little bit of their thingy met, so I just need to get home again safely, preferably, because this, yeah, 900 odd. I'd be pushing it even for a Mun flyby, to be honest with you. So I am going to return home. Again, I'm going to get the periapsis down to about 30. Once we're down at about 30, I will let Jeb fly the thing back for me. We're probably going to land around here somewhere. Yeah, that'll do. So again, we will... see, we're in darkness. Ah, there's Mun. Look at that. Hey, Mun. We couldn't... we wanted to come and say hello, but we couldn't. There's Kerbin. So now it's going to be set that back to surface and warp until we're a bit lower, because we are quite high. And then we'll try again. So I'm going to speed this up and I will catch you back at the Space Centre in just a minute. Well, just a minute for you, but you know what I mean. Yes, and as I've noted previously, speeding up certain bits of this, they're a little bit repetitive. Career mode's a bit grindy. Yeah, you end up doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes, occasionally, you might even learn and get a little bit better at it. Unlike me. Yeah, so hence these speeded up bits. Feel free to hum if you find it helps. I don't have any music lined up for these as yet, so yeah. Okay, here we are back at the Space Centre. Let's see what else we've got. A couple more tourists. Orbit the Mun, fly by the Mun, so we can't do any of that at the moment. Orbit Kerbin. Orbit the Mun. Fly by Mun, fly by Mun. Orbit Kerbin is an easier one to get the money from. As you see, we've picked up some. We haven't exactly picked up a huge amount. That one I can do. So what I'm going to do is do that, which is going to be a slightly different one of these. It's going to be the 5T, which is that. Which is currently on 30 parts, so it can't be any more than that. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now, so Tamwin and Fredard, they're the two who need to be put onto here. Let's put those at the beginning, which is quite nice. Yeah, I'm going to fly this, and then we're going to come back. Now this flight's costing me 15,000. You know, I don't actually think I'm making money on this. We'll see. Yeah. We shall, yes. Anyway, never mind, I'm going to do it anyway. So, this is another tourist spaceflight mission, so I'm going to do this again in speed up mode, because you've watched one of these and you don't need to watch it all in great deal of detail again. And now just a quick comment. The reason I've shut the engines off, I'm going to get up to 112. I'm quite happy with the idea of actually getting out of the atmosphere to where this Terrier engine is at its most efficient before burning sideways, as I'm now doing. Because I don't mind the apparatus going up a bit. I don't really want it going up vastly. What you actually want to be ideally is about 20 seconds ahead of the apparatus at all times. But at the moment I don't know the time to it, which is in these locked fields at the moment. I need to get the Space Centre tracking station upgraded before I'll find that out. What I want to do is keep the nose down there. I don't want... I want to build my speed. I don't want the apparatus climbing too much. I don't mind it climbing a bit. I just don't want it climbing too much. We're already quite high. What I'm trying to do is increase the throw out of the side. So again, we get these two into orbit, which is where they want to be. We can then bring them home, get paid, and yada yada yada. And here we are in orbit. And actually, this time, a reasonable orbit. Deorbit. Yeah. For the benefit of the video, the deorbit and the re-entry is going to be in daylight. Yeah, I'm not trying for that airfield. I cannot land these things accurately to save my life. Right. Yes, these two have had their fun, so we'll again drop this periapsis down to about 30 kilometers. And then we'll go home, and again I will catch you back at the Space Centre in just a minute. And here we are back at the Space Centre with very, very slightly more money than we had before. So, yeah, that really wasn't worth doing. Fly by the Mun, orbit the Mun. Well, that's... How many have we got? We've got 3 active. Yeah, you see that one there? That's worth doing. So... that one we'll have. So I'm desperately trying to get a bit of money here. That's Mun, which is coming up in a bit. And that's Mun, which is coming up in a bit. That's still not worth doing. That's still not worth doing. That I haven't got a cat in hell's chance of doing. And all that really, not at the moment anyway. So, more tourist flights. Yay! But actually what I want to do, thinking about it, is find out which are the ones I really want to do first. So, Kimdas and Lodor... yeah, anyway, never mind. So we've got a lot of them here, as you can see. These two likely looking suspects are only bothered about Kerbin orbit, so that's what they're going to get. Again, this is going to be a quick one, which I'm going to do largely in fast forward. This is really just a bit of a playthrough, so you can see exactly the lengths I'm having to go to here. Yeah. So I will catch you back at the Space Centre, and I'll do this one entirely on fast forward. Yeah, as before, this is nicely sped up. The exact mission profile wasn't brilliant on this one. It sort of worked. Did what it needed to. So it's yeah, get some of the basic parameters done. Well, and while I'm flying this, I'm trying to think what else. What can I do? I need to improve these craft. I have the part limit. The weight limit's not really a problem anymore, so I can make it quite heavy. It's got to be lower number of parts, and it's got to be controllable to perform some of these missions. I've got a few ideas which will probably be in the next video. But, we shall carry on here, and we shall follow these two back down to the water. So here we are back at Space Centre. Now, we have another couple of tourists who want to go suborbital, and I'm taking that again just for the cash. However, at this point, I can now afford to upgrade the tracking station, and this means things have changed a little bit. So so before I do this next flight, what I need to do is find out which one that mission actually just was. Gregwin and Lengard. They sound a fun couple. Those two. Now what we're going to find this time is we've unlocked a little bit more information. which will make getting to orbit a bit easier. Now we've got these down here set. Now this gives me time to apoapsis, time to periapsis, so this is actually quite useful. You'll see why in a minute. So off we go again. Just realised I've launched at night again, or nearly at night, but never mind. Once we're going up a little bit, when I switch to the map view, you'll notice various things have changed. I'm going to throttle down a little bit at this point. So I'm not purely trying to do this one at maximum speed. But what we've got now here is the apoapsis, which is the high point, and it tells me how far away I am from that in time. So we're about a minute away from the height we're going to get to at the moment. What this means, when we come to get into orbit and circularize the orbits and so on and so forth, we've got a bit more information. We can also plan nodes a little bit better now, which is what I'm going to do in a minute. So this craft is going to get a little bit higher than the previous ones have, because I've got the performance to do it, and what I'm going to do is circularize the orbit in a bit of a different way. So that can be killed. I'll then cut the engines. Right, map view. So you see we now have this little bit here that says AP, that's where we want to get to. So I'm going to go to there, I'm going to add a maneuver, and what I want to do, see, this is going to tell me, and this red bit is the current stage does not have the fuel to do this. Well, I knew that, so I'm not too bothered. This is going to give me an orbit. And that's saying the node is there. So, yeah. Burn time 2 minutes. So actually, what I need to do is pretty much hit the engines straight away. So I'm going to do that. And we have this bit here now, so I point at that, and this should get me in roughly the right orbit. And now here I can see what I'm doing, and this tells me the total amount of fuel I'm going to need, or rather delta V I'm going to need to complete this burn, and I can see over this side I've got plenty more than that. What this means though is when I'm coming to do a MUN flyby mission, for example, I know when I've got to fire the engines, I need to know how much I've got to fire the engines, so how long they need to burn for, and before I ignite them I can see have I got the propellant on board to actually get where I want to get to. So while I'm losing a lot of money off this, I've lost this, it's cost me 300,000, it de-risks missions significantly. The slight drawback is the current craft design is not really capable of the MUN tourist flight missions, which it needs to be. So hopefully we're going to get a mission to do something else soon. The next one's going to be upgrading the vertical assembly building so I can use more parts. The MUN mission with the parts I've got is extremely straightforward. I just need more parts. I need to build a bigger rocket, I need bigger boosters. Basically, the thing I've got with a third booster on the side is what I need to do. I just don't have the 4-5 extra parts I need in order to do it. So here we go. Burn that. And what I need to do now, because we're actually past our apoapsis, I need to get that back positive. You see, we've gone past that point. Now you do want to do some of the burn ahead of it and some of the burn past it. Basically, when I set the manoeuvre up, I didn't have quite the right amount of time to do it. So what I need to do is probably burn this way quite a bit more. But we're making orbit, so it'll do. Yeah. go up a little. And when that node is burnt out, we are in theory where we want to be. And we are now we're now in orbit, which is good. So that little plan has put us there. We can now also see the apoapsis and periapsis on here. The orbital line is blue, which is it's just blue. I mean, it doesn't really. I would say that particularly adds a great deal to the experience. These two are quite happy with what they want. So what we're going to do is go back and land again, and we're going to see if we can do something a little bit different on the next flight. As you saw just briefly there, I've got the ability to point to a position on the orbit and say, take me here, and it will speed up and it'll do it. In this case I clicked in slightly the wrong place and it was below the atmosphere, but the time warp cuts out when you drop into atmosphere, so that works. So again, I will see you back at the space station, space center. Now this one's interesting. This is the sort of mission I want. So, space around the Mun. Okay, so how do we get there? Now we know from experience this won't. So, I'm going to do something new. What I'm going to do is this one again that we sort of tried a while back. Zoom in a little bit. This is the little P. It's got a bit of a heat shield. It doesn't have much, it has to be said. Electric charge is fine. It's put some more kerbals in it, which I don't particularly want. What I'm going to do is get rid of Bill. I want to find one of these guys who wants to go just on a flyby of the Mun. Kerbal. Okay, Kerman, that'll do. Yeah, so he just wants to go on a flyby of the Mun. So that's what we're looking at doing. And I've got to get some science from around there while I'm at it. I am going to stick one of those onto here. I am going to stick a drogue parachute onto here. This thing's got a decoupler built in, which is quite nice, because this will carry two Kerbals, and because it's got that decoupler built in, that saves me having to buy one in effect. However, it's not actually going to make it back through the atmosphere on its own. This is good for a little bit of an orbital hop. It's not that much use for anything else, so I'm going to have to put that on the bottom of it and add a decoupler of my own, rather unfortunately. Now we flew this earlier and we know it's not the most aerodynamic either. I can't do anything about that at the moment, so I'm not going to. Right, that's our little moon sort of let's go and have a play craft. I do need to add, what's that? I need to add a little bit of science to it, because we've got to go and do a little bit of science. Don't do much, just do a little bit. So I'm going to go in there with thermometer. We've already done. How heavy is the goo pod? 10 times the weight. Yeah, I'm going to stick the thermometer on. I'm not going for the science as such here. I'm going for the I'm going to get there and get back stuff. Right, so that now needs another decoupler. Really? See, I can... what I'm trying to do is save parts here. if I can do this. So I'm going to put a swivel in there, like that. How many bits is that? You see that? On its own, that doesn't even look like it'll get to Kerb in orbit. It probably would. Now, how many bits is it? Yeah, I've got a few left. So, because what I think I need to do is come into here. If I can take the weight of these. Now, see, that's suddenly got a lot of performance. I'm still not using too many parts, actually, which is quite nice. So what I'm going to do is go into aero. So I need to put those on top. I'm going to go into structural because I need to put those on top like that. Now that will... it'll go up like a rocket, not to put too fine a point on it. So I'm going to chop the thrust on those solids down. Basically to make them a bit more controllable. I'm now going to go in with fins, and again I want those, I want 3 of them. They're going onto the main rocket. And we've got 2 more parts spare. How much battery has that got? 50? Yeah, it should be fine. Doesn't have any control wheels, however. So... yeah, all of that is coming off, so I can fit a control wheel. I forgot these things don't have control wheels. I'm also going to put the control wheel on the top. Basically just gets it out of the way. So if I put that there, I can put that on top of it like so. So what are we going to do? We're going to burn that engine at the same time as those. That engine is going to burn the same time as that. See that again, that's dropped a huge amount of theoretical performance off. In practice, as we get higher, this will help. So the idea is these will get me to space, with this helping for steering. This thing can circularize, and then that can say, go Mun flyby, and then come back. How many bits have we got left over? In theory, we have another part. In practice, I've done pretty much all of the science I can at the moment. I don't think the goo pod has been, so I am going to try. I'm going to try with one of them on it, and we're going to see if we go here. Now this is going to be Lawn Dart 6. And check that's fine, so that's all the bottom's going to fire up together. Drop those. Ding ding ding. Done. Right. Let's try it. I mean, as the saying goes, what's the worst that could happen? First thing we're going to do is go to daylight so that we can see what we are doing. Just because I think that is worth doing. In theory, that could use a little bit of battery power. In practice, it hasn't. Not that bothered. Right. So we're going to throttle to 2/3. I'm going to see whether that is enough to lift. It is, but slowly. Well, that's fine. We're going to go this way because I need to be in control of this thing. Don't want it to go over too much further than that, though. Full throttle because it's tipping over too much. It's getting there. The problem, yeah, this is tipping over way too much at the moment. And rotating, and its aerodynamics are horrible. Do need to cut the thrust on the main engines. Reason being, I need. Whoa. Okay, Jeb, you take over. You can probably fly this thing better than I can. Yeah, this is not going to make orbit. I'm basically just riding this now until the solids burn out, because I can't jettison them until then. So yeah, okay. Experiment failed. Basically, the power of these things, they're rocking around too much, even with the struts. So, yeah, maybe maybe change where the struts are. That might work a bit better. So we can get rid of those. That's done a bit of damage to the bottom. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to jettison that bit. I'm then going to jettison that bit. I'm then going to jettison that bit. And then I'm going to fire the parachutes. And then we're going to go back to the Space Centre and we're going to try again. Okay, I will see you back at the Space Centre in a moment. This is potentially quite an interesting little mission. That Airstream shell would probably help the craft we've just been doing. Quite heavily, in fact. Yeah, I'm not sure we've... the problem is we don't have the part count to use it particularly. How many missions have we got available? Because until we complete that mission, that means we get that part, which is interesting. And we'd need that part to get that little Lawn Dart 6 thing in space. Drop an instrument, and all of a sudden that becomes possible. So I'm going to do that. We're going to try that mission again. Except this time I'm going to take these struts off here. Go back to 3 struts. What I want to do is see if I can stop these rockets here from wobbling quite so much. That might help. We'll see. It may help, it may not. Right, so I need to get rid of the goo pod because I don't have that part. So we're down at 29. What I should be able to do, all that, is remove that. And now we should have in here somewhere. I think it's in a payload, isn't it? This thing here, which is basically does that. So that is set to jettison when that fires. There are some height parameters on that, so I need to try and work out. Yeah, I think this needs a stage all of its own in here. Basically, I think because I'm going to have to fire that at a very precise time to meet these mission requirements. We're also going to go upwards on quite a bit more. Kerbal, there we go. So that's Lawn Dart 6. I'm going to save that again, and we are going to try it again. And hopefully those struts will stabilise things a little bit. Ooh, that was a bit wobbly. Well, we'll see. So engines to about 2/3. We've got that. I need to bring this up because I need that. I need this window. 2,000 at that. Yeah. So we may have a few problems actually meeting that exact parameter. But basically, if I get, see, we're going off course already here. Although not as much as we were, which is nice. I don't think this is going to work. In fact, I'm pretty certain it's not. Okay, so got a full whack on the main engine. Let Jeb fly it that way. The problem with this is this isn't going to get into the right orbit to go and get anywhere near the Mun, which is slightly problematic, but anyway, we'll see. Speed is climbing nicely. Possibly a little bit too much, in fact. Throttle down a bit more. The speed is now in the zone it needs to be, but we're nowhere near the correct height. Right, now I should have an awful lot more control. So I should, with luck, be able to start getting this thing back where I need it to be. Jettison that. That gives me a lot of money there, and then shut that off. And again, what I need to do here is add a maneuver, which is going to do that. Doesn't need to be anything like that big. There we go, something like that. Periapsis, yeah, that'll do. And that's within the capabilities of what we got. Node in T whatever, burn time is such and such, so what I need to do is point us in the right direction and start the engines. What I'm actually going to do is start burning this way a little bit more. I'm trying to get back into an equatorial plane here, because doing that will make... I don't know if I'm going to have the ability to get near Mun for a flyby. I am, however, going to try, because I've got the mission planning, so I can do it. But before I can do that, I need to get into orbit. So let's do that first. As you can see, I'm more or less ignoring the maneuver. I'm going to get rid of it. Don't need the maneuver node now. They're useful things to have, but if you're not actually going to follow it exactly, you might as well get rid of it. So kill that. And as you see, we've burnt this all the way out here. So what I need to do, really, is modify what I'm doing. We're going quite high. I don't necessarily need to go that high. So what I'm actually going to do is do another one of these. So we're going to come into here like that, add maneuver, and I want this to take me to orbit. Zoom that round so I can see what I'm doing. Drag that back down like that. There we are. This is 18-second burn. It's going to use about a third of the fuel I've got left, which is, yeah, potentially a little bit worrying, but we'll see. And what I don't have is the ability to get me there. 18-second burn, so I need to burn that in theory when I'm at 9 seconds to the maneuver node. That's the theory. So let's see how well it works. Mm-hmm. This maneuver node planner, it's good, but if you have to start staging partway through it, you do sometimes find a few problems. Right, let's get ready. So I'm pointing at the node. Later on, Jeb becomes skilled enough he can actually point the thing at the node himself, although to be honest, by the time you can do that, you can do it yourself fairly well, it must be said. So point to that. If I zoom out here, we should see the orbit slowly become that orange line. There we are. And there we are in Kerbal orbit. Now, I know that I want to potentially be about here, so I'm going to have the maneuver node there. And what this now does is tell me I don't have anything like the fuel to do what I need to do. But what I can do Yeah, you see there's the huge part of the problem. I'm going in the wrong direction. So, but I can use this. That one. Yes, I'm in slightly the wrong place to do this. Let's see. I'm going to. Yes, that's puts me on an escape trajectory. Yes, I'm not going to get a Mun encounter off the back of that. That's what that's telling me. I don't have the fuel to do it. So what instead I'm going to do is look at where I want to come home, which is probably be around here somewhere. So we'll just go to there, hit the brakes, and we'll come back home again. But we have got the money from that contract, which is useful. So that's there. I want to go backwards. Don't care about adding another manoeuvre. I just want to go. And again, bring the periapsis back down, which actually you can right click on it and keep it there. And when you're messing around later, doing other orbit stuff, the ability to do that is quite useful. I admit it is quite small on the screen. This is a 4K monitor, so yeah, some bits of it are a little bit small. But okay, let's get that down to 30 again. We'll try and land this P pod thing. Yeah, he wants a Mun flyby, so he's not in the least bit happy. He's just reached Kerbal orbit and nothing else. And I need to go away and have a little think again about how to do this. So yeah, this is probably going to wrap this one up for the day. We will get back to the Space Centre and have a bit of a think. We do have another contract slot spare, however. Now the downside is we actually completed that, is we don't have that contract part available anymore until we buy it, which is a bit of a problem. But there we go, never mind. Right. So yes, I'll see you back at the Space Centre. Now, fairly obviously, we're going to grab that contract because that is an extremely simple one to do and it brings in money. I can only have one more, so that's the one I'm going to have. Another VIP, again, wants to go back the Mun, including orbit. That one's quite fun. Go suborbital and run tests on a rover. Yeah, which we don't have the capability to do yet. So yes, I'm going to leave this here. That's great. Yes, quite a bit more. I'm going to leave this here, and we will be back in the next one. Grabbing some science from Space Round, and again, carrying on trying to work out how to get something big enough in 30 parts to get to the Mun. I will catch you all again. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.